Hi, my name is Nigel Beck, CEO and co-founder of Win Labs. Today I'm going to tell you how we're going after a $54 billion opportunity for robot managers to make work better. So let's talk first about what human managers do out there in the real economy, in the services economy that 80% of Americans actually work in. Let's say I'm someone like Fred here on the right, on the left. I'm a director of housekeeping, for example, in a large luxury hotel. I have about 100 housekeepers working for me. And the first thing I need to do every day is make sure that everybody shows up. Not just that they show up, but that I have the right amount of people according to the demand, and the right people according to labor laws, seniority, maximum number of hours worked, soak-up minimums, maximum days in a row, workman's comp issues, and so forth. So the way I do that today is at the end of each day, on paper, I get a forecast from the HR and ops team, people like Sally. And I take that forecast and I translate it into a piece of paper that I tape up on the wall at 3 o'clock for my on-shift workers to go and sign up to different pieces of work. Then at 5 o'clock, I phone everybody who isn't there or who didn't sign up. Then at 7 a.m. the next morning, I phone everybody again. Then throughout the day, if I have a gap or if I have absences or unexpected demand, I phone everybody again. And every time I phone people, I have to do it in a precise order according to all those rules, and I have to log it. I log it with a red pen on a piece of paper. And the reason why I log it is if I make a mistake, I potentially have to pay out in full shift for everyone I was supposed to call but didn't. And if I make a larger mistake than that, I can wind up in court for wage theft. So at Win Labs, we make digital managers that do these kinds of things for human managers. The reason why these tasks are so difficult is they blend static constraints like rules and procedures with dynamic constraints and preferences. And so this means that a manager like Fred has to not only know all those rules, calculate, optimize, document, and comply, but he has to talk to people. And he has to go around and talk to all of his staff to determine what their preferences are at any given point in time, because humans, unlike other resources in the enterprise, like ball bearings, actually have preferences, and they have things that they do that day other than go to work. So our digital managers not only learn the rules and administer them, but they also go and they phone all the people using either voice or text and ask them what their preferences are, and they update them on what's going on so they can get a best case feedback from them of what they'd like to do. And we handle this for a variety of negotiation-oriented tasks. This applies not just to things like call-arounds that I just talked about, but also to things like work and task assignment, skills assessment, certifications, insurance requirements, workman comp concerns, and a variety of other such things. In the case of the scenario I just outlined, we save a hotel about $100,000 a year. That works out to about 3% of labor cost. So delivering a 3% of labor cost benefit across the services economy, 124 million workers in the US and 3 billion workers globally, is about a $54 billion market. And for a given customer, that 3% in a business like hotels is about a 10% net operating income improvement. That makes the owner's building, for example, 10% more valuable. So in a place like San Francisco, that's a $50 million benefit. And moreover, we're doing this for front-end workers, but the large platform providers like the IBMs, the Kronos, the Workdays of the world are focused primarily solely on the back office. So this is how it works. We use partial constraint satisfaction, machine learning, distributed ledger, and natural language understanding in order to administer these constraints on workers' behalf. So what we do is we pack a ledger full of enterprise resources, and then we either execute the constraint or delegate the constraint in order to figure out what to do at any given point in time. And then we use natural language to talk to people in order to figure out what trade-offs to make. When we complete those trade-offs, we then have a record of all the decisions that were made and why they were made, which we can then put through our machine learning algorithm to improve the processes. Today, we specialize these managers by vertical. So we started off in hospitality. We'll next go to businesses like health, government, manufacturing, and so forth. In the 8 months since we've launched, we're on the Cornell board for hospitality and labor and employment management. We're in top 5 hotel and hotel management companies. And we've got several thousand workers under management. We're charging about $10 per employee per month, which is about 10% of the benefit that we give to our customers. The reason why this is important now, the labor market's tightening. A lot of our big industrial customers have used cheap credit in order to build up their assets. yet the price of the labor to service those assets is increased, and they can't cut labor costs and they can't cut staff because of service quality concerns. Second, conversational technology is now widely accepted as opposed to before when it barely worked, and people more or less expect these types of things in the workforce, especially newer workers. That's When Labs. This is our team. We've been doing this for more than 20 years. We understand how to optimize management processes in large enterprises. We've sold a company to IBM. We've bought companies. And I used to run speech and natural language at IBM. Thanks very much. Any questions?
Kareem, we can start with you. Or
So how do you capture the preference part of this? It seems to be the squishy part.
So a big part of the preference is you just ask people. So you say, hey, do you want to work right now? We also use things like implied preference. If you tend to always opt in for Mondays, then we'll sort of weight Mondays higher when we go and figure out
How does the system capture that, though?
How do we capture? How do we encode it?
Or is it automatically captured, or does someone have to enter it then after the interaction?
It's express and implied. So we'll take your answer to a particular question as express, as implied, and then we'll expressly ask you and say, do you want to work Tuesday? No means we downvote.
So it's an interaction with an app?
It's actually all conversational from the employee standpoint.
Okay.
So we phone or text the employee and say, would you like this?
You showed the piece of paper and then your solution. There's nothing in between? It seems like a very immediate
That's
problem.
correct. That's correct. There's nothing in between. So large enterprises, like these large hotels that have potentially hundreds of rooms and hundreds or even a couple thousand employees, they have back office ERP systems, they have property management and point of sale systems, but when it comes to the front office stuff, what they do is they print out the printout, they hand it to the managers, and they say, please reconcile that with the system of record at the end of the week.
It sounds like great technology for American Airlines based on what's happened recently, but why did you select the hotel industry to start with? And is it transferable in other areas within that business, i.e. trying to match frequent flyers with preferred room types, et cetera, or are you just focused simply on workers within healthcare, et cetera, as the next vertical?
Let me answer the question in reverse. So yeah, it's a matching algorithm where we go and call out in order to validate the match. A lot of people try and do it totally as a underlying puzzle solve. You can't really do that because people's preferences change, like I pointed out. So we could do that sort of thing that you mentioned. We went after hotels for a bunch of reasons. One is we're San Francisco based. There's lots of hotels here. It's a big industry, so I can see my customers from my apartment balcony, which is always a good thing when you're a bootstrap startup. The second is they are subject to a ton of rules and regulations at the union, local, state, and federal level, and they can't just relocate somewhere else. They can't do regulation arbitrage. You can't move your San Francisco hotel to Alabama. And then third is they're kind of lighthouses in their local business community. So if I come to you at a hospital, and I've never done a hospital, but I'm doing the Ritz, say, the Ritz does service pretty well. Maybe you'll be okay.
Could you apply these to, say, TaskRabbit?
Definitely would work for that type of marketplace, yeah.